Welcome D&D and Overwatch fans to a new character build episode for Baldurs Gate 3 and also a modded class showcase. This episode we focus on the modded class of the Gunslingers. Credits to the mod author Tet42. Thank you so much for implementing this lore friendly class. And yes, I did say it is lore friendly. There are guns in D&D. Let's just get that out of the way. And just like with most of my showcase videos, this is going to be a standalone, all 12 levels of the Gunslinger class, mainly just to showcase everything that there is to offer with this class, but specifically to make sure that this video doesn't go out of control or proportions. I am going to be sticking with the specific Gunslinger class itself, and also this is my personal way of saying thank you to Tet as well. And a brief description of the Gunslinger subclass itself. According to Tet, its main abilities are Dex and Charisma, with a focus on range combat using unique firearms. This subclass is a medium armored fighter / ranger hybrid that has access to range battlemaster abilities. And to make things interesting, I am basing this character build off of Widowmaker, who is a sniper based hero in one of my favorite games, Overwatch. Please do let me know in the comments if I am making any specific level up choices or feat choices that would be in line with what Widowmaker would choose, and I will do my best to try to pick some level up skills that increases range or is in line with her character lore and background. Please let me know in the comments as well if you would choose different level up skills, regardless if they're lore friendly to Widowmaker herself or in your personal character builds. I am very much open to feedback and criticism, and overall this just helps with making better commentary and also choices for character builds in the future videos. That being said, let's get into the first level of the build, with the race choice being Drow / Dark Elf. And yes, I know technically speaking Widowmaker is human, however I wanted to choose the race features of the Drow, which very much fit in line to her current state right now. With Fey ancestry, she has advantage against being charmed, and also advantage on saving throws against being charmed and put to sleep. Plus also, we do gain superior dark vision up to 24 meters, and Drow weapon training with the rapier, short sword, and most importantly hand crossbow. Yes, I did say that she is primarily a sniper character, however, for Widowmaker players, I'm sure a lot of you do remember having to use her more short-range assault rifle in close combat, especially when short-range characters like Tracer and Genji close the distance on you. We also gain subclass features of the specific Gunslinger subclass itself with Gunslinger Focus. Take a moment to center yourself, have a +1 to attack and damage rolls, and have advantage on all attacks for 2 turns. This does count as a bonus action, and pretty much you use this as your key point. Other class features we gain here are Gunslinger Point Blank. When you make ranged weapon attacks within melee range, the attack rolls do not have disadvantage. And also evasion. Agility lets you dodge out of the way of certain spells. When a spell or effect would deal half damage on a successful Dex saving throw, it deals no damage if you succeed and only half damage if you fail. These two are really powerful in the early game too, especially, like I said, if enemies do close the distance on you, you can still get your ranged attack off on them. We also gain somewhat of a fighter action here with Second Wind with healing, just to give yourself some self-sustainability, and a very focused action here with Aim with My Eye, precise shot that causes weapon damage and slows down our targets for 2 turns. For the background choice, I am using a modded background choice, which is faceless, mainly for roleplay purposes, but also gaining useful skills in deception and intimidation, which is definitely skills Widowmaker would have when she does join the Talon organization. Something about you prevents you from effectively pursuing the path you've chosen, left your old face behind, taking on a new persona, becoming something more. Very much edgelordy, right up Widowmaker's alley. With the ability point outlook, we are putting most of our points into dexterity to get all of our shots off accurately, but putting a little bit more points into charisma as well, just to give that very femme fatale spy look to her. Intelligence and wisdom we're leaving alone. Constitution, we're putting it at a decent 14, so overall a +4, +2, +2, and then no pluses here, but also strength. Widowmaker's not really the strongest hero per se in terms of physical capability, but she more than makes up for it with being extremely dexterous and also light on her feet. As for the skill proficiencies, we're going to have a +5 in acrobatics, +2 in arcana, +2 in investigation, +4 in deception, and +4 in intimidation. One major quick note and huge props to the mod author themselves is they added a reload mechanic to balance things out with this class, so you can't just be willy-nilly and shoot off all of your ammo at once. You need to make sure to manage it fully in combat, and also, personally, I like using the reload feature once I'm outside of combat to make sure that when I do enter combat again, that I come in with a full stack, guns blazing. Just bear that in mind. At level 2, we gain the actions and features of Gunslinger Smite, reaction weapon damage, 2d8 force damage. According to the mod author, it's pretty much similar to what paladins have with divine smite reactions, just reflavored with force damage, and also we gain the gunslinging fighting style, +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons, plus we gain action surge from the fighter, which grants us an extra action to use this turn as well. At level 3, we gain some actions and features, and also some combat maneuvers, which, for me personally, roleplay-wise, I would choose Precision Attack, spend a superiority die to add it to the result of an attack roll to make sure that you actually pinpoint hit your target. This is very much a sniper-esque choice for me, and right up Widowmaker's alley. This is also right up Widowmaker's alley in terms of frightening our opponents and causing a fear debuff to them with menacing attack, and also additional 1d8 damage as well. With the actions that we gain here, we gain Inspiring Palaver. You inspire with your words, giving yourself and your companions an advantage for the next 2 turns. Action here is Trick Shot. Fire 2 shots at targets of your choice, dealing weapon damage to each target. We also gain an interesting action here with Shoot with My Mind. Your knowledge allows you to strike with surgical accuracy to target a vital artery, which causes weapon damage and bleeds your target for 3 turns. The damage over time from bleed is very useful here in the early game stages, and this does count as a bonus action as well. Bear in mind too, this does use up your ammunition, so be sure to manage it well. At level 4, the feat choice that I would personally pick here is Ability Improvement, dumping 2 of our points into Dexterity. Eventually, we will get this up to an even 20, and also the class features and actions are a reduced amount of reload time, and also a specific action that's called Counter Shot. According to the mod author, it is a reaction shot that counters enemy spellcasters and deafens them. At level 5, we gain the extra attack feature, which does apply to our main firearm hand. More trick shots, adding up to 3 targets all at once. Attack of opportunity with our gun, and also a new action of Kill with My Heart. Weapon damage, 1d8 +2 force damage, heavily damage the target. If the target is both bleeding and slowed down, you do extra damage and knock your target prone, opening them up for more attacks of opportunity, and also a higher chance of actually getting hit by you and your allies in combat. We also gain the elemental weapon cantrip here, which allows us to infuse our firearm with whatever element we want. This is really good in terms of specifying against enemies and also covering all our bases. We also gain a race feature here, the darkness spell, being a drow. Create a dark shroud that heavily obscures and blinds creatures within. It's very much right up Widowmaker's alley in terms of creating a makeshift smoke bomb to make a getaway escape too. Also, I did forget to mention that one of the previous levels we gain the spell feature of Fairy Fire. Basically, it's our way of being anti-infiltrator or revealing invisible enemies. Think of it like revealing or being an anti-Sombra if you want to go that far. Now at level 6, we do gain a ranger feature here of natural explorer. Years of traveling the world made you particularly attuned to beasts or adept at surviving in certain environments. Now you could argue that Widowmaker would have resistance to cold damage. I believe she was in cryostasis if I remember correctly from her lore and being captured by Talon. Overwatch fans, please do correct me if I'm wrong on that. However, I am leaning towards choosing resistance to poison, as I do like having that resistance to that sort of damage over time effect. Plus also, it is something that Widowmaker, being a fan of spiders, I think would be proficient in herself. Now for the specific action we gain here, high velocity round, 1d12 piercing damage. Your bullet fires forward in a 9 meter long line. Each creature that in that line must make a dex saving throw or take weapon damage plus an extra 1d12 piercing damage. Now this is very situational, positioning matters, and also you gotta have your targets lined up correctly. But if you're able to find yourself in that opportunity situation and you do manage to pull it off, this is very much rewarding in terms of weapon damage. At level 7, we gain unique actions of Aura of the Gunslinger. Radiate an aura that inspires your companions. Enemies have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you and your companions, and the number you need to roll a critical hit is reduced by 1. Pretty good utility area of effect spell, and very much team oriented. More action trick shots of firing 4 targets of our choice this time around. And for the combat maneuver, I would personally pick up Disarming Strike for usefulness, but also because it's very much an homage to Widowmaker's accuracy, being able to have that accuracy and confidence in terms of not just damaging her opponents in vital areas, but also having the gall to just knock out their weapons. At level 8, the feat choice I would personally pick up here is Elven Accuracy. Accuracy of the elves is legendary, especially that of elf archers and spellcasters. You have an uncanny aim with attacks that rely on precision rather than brute force. Yep, very much Widowmaker sniper-esque. Gain the following benefits: increase, in our case, dexterity by 1. Now we do gain a max of 20 with this, and overall a very strong +5. Whenever you have advantage on attack roll using Dex, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, you can reroll one of the dice once, so it's a good saving grace for us, and also it helps even things out with our abilities. At level 9, we gain new features and actions of Indomitable. You have become as durable as an Iron Golem. Whenever you fail a saving throw, roll again using the new result instead. Good saving grace there. Action of Trick Shot, now firing up to 5 targets of our choice, plus we do gain the haste spell, very much useful as a getaway spell. Target yourself or an ally, become hasten, gain an action, become faster, and gain +2 to armor class. However, this does end in 2 turns, so make sure to use it in the right situation or near the end of combat, or else when the condition ends you do become lethargic and can't move or take actions, bonus actions, or reactions. So just like with your ammo, make sure you manage it very well. At level 10, we gain improved combat superiority. Size of the superiority die increases to 1d10, which very much influences our combat maneuvers here. With the additional combat maneuver, I would personally pick up Trip Attack, spend a superiority die to make an additional 1d10 damage, and possibly knock your target prone. This is, you could even argue, as a utility attack too, in terms of opening up the enemy to your other allies in the party. At level 11, we do gain improved extra attack, 2 additional attacks after attacking with your main hand weapon, and now being able to fire 6 shots at your targets of your choice, so pretty much very much becoming a very crowd control-esque sniper. To top things off at level 12, I would personally pick up Idle Hands, which is a modded feat that allows us to add 1 point to any ability of our choice, and most importantly, gain an additional bonus action, which I know does seem a little metagamey, but also plays well into Widowmaker's profile in terms of having those fast hands and being able to pull off multiple actions in quick succession too. And also, I am using a mod feature that allows us to turn 2 bonus actions into an action and vice versa in terms of turning an action into a bonus action too. So you can pick and choose, and it provides a lot of flexibility in combat. When it comes to equipment choices, I decided to pick some that would be very much in line with poison, stealth, very stereotypically drow, but also I am using a few modded ones as well, which I will mention and point out. But the non-modded one I'm using is Circlet of Psionic Revenge. When you succeed a saving throw, the foe that caused the throw takes 1 to 4 psychic damage, so this is our way of being anti-magic user. It's also very much vindictive of what Widowmaker would use herself in combat. We are using modded equipment such as the short cape and also drow leather armor +1. With the short cape, we gain the arcane enchantment, +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, Saloon's protection, while the wearer has mage armor. Each successful saving throw causes the source of the saving throw to take 1 to 4 radiant damage. This will pair very well with Psionic Revenge, and you could maybe even justify it by saying that the radiant damage, there's still some amount of good left in Widowmaker herself. Exquisite focus while concentrating, add your spellcasting ability modifier to your saving throws and gain a +1 bonus to armor class. We do gain the lunar bulwark, bed yourself in the shielding magic of Saloon's watchful gaze, pretty much magic armor for us. With the drow leather armor though, we gain a +1 to it, considered proficient with this armor while wearing it. Wearer has a +2 bonus to initiative rolls and advantage on dex saving throws, plus we gain advantage on stealth checks. That's the main draw here, and also it very much looks pretty good on Widowmaker herself. Pale Widow gloves. We do gain ensnaring shrouds, pulling web, and the web concentration spell, very much useful and tying in very well with her gunslinger mechanics. Ensnaring strands, attack conjures thick sticky webbing that possibly inwebs your targets for 10 turns, making sure they can't move. Attack rolls against the affected entity have advantage, while its attack rolls have disadvantage. Also have disadvantage on dex saving throws. Pulling web, 3 to 18 piercing damage. Strike a creature with a gossamer skin adhering web and pull it 3 meters closer to you. You might want to consider this very situational too, as most of the time you'll want to be shooting your targets from far away and literally running and gunning. Web, basically cover an area in thick flammable webbing that slows creatures within and possibly inwebs them, giving the same effects as ensnaring strands for 10 turns. Like I said, area of effect spell, and also makes it so that enemies have a very difficult time closing their distance on you. Shadow step boots, also very good with the shadow teleportation ability. Teleport to an unoccupied obscured spot. You could roleplay this as Widowmaker having her grappling hook that a lot of players use to do those insane trick shots of grappling up to a ceiling and then spinning around and then pulling off a very clutch sniper shot. For the jewel pieces of equipment, we have Broodmother's Revenge. This is oddly situational, but would pair pretty well with Shadowheart. Venomous Revenge. When the wearer is healed, their weapon becomes coated in magic and deals additional 1 to 6 poison damage. So yes, you do have to be healed by Shadowheart or someone else, but being able to gain the poison damage, additional poison damage you'll add to your gun, it's very much in line with Widowmaker and will pair well with Killer's Sweetheart. Executioner, when you kill a creature, your next attack roll will be a critical hit. So basically just kill off a mob enemy and then save your next attack for the boss enemy or a higher health enemy too. But this does refresh after a long rest, so use it wisely. We also get Caustic Ban. Weapon attacks also deal 2 acid damage, and yes, not technically poison, but also you could reflavor it as such in your head if you want. We also gain the more stronger firearm here with armament of Maryland, 11 to 12 piercing damage, and also it does get buffed too with some of our Gunslinger abilities. Alright friends, that concludes the showcase of the modded class Gunslinger and also my character build for Widowmaker. Please let me know in the comments if you would make different choices in level ups or also equipment for either the Gunslinger class or in terms of better roleplay for Widowmaker. As always, I am very much open to your feedback, and also I love hearing your personal builds in the comments below too. Genuinely speaking, having these types of in-depth conversations on what kinds of characters you all like to build or prefer is very much interesting to read, and also it's one of the things I absolutely love about the D&D and Baldur's Gate communities. Let me know in the comments as well what classes, modded, or base game classes you would like to pair this up and multi-class with. I really do want to see what kinds of synergies we can create. Speaking of modded classes, this isn't the end of Gunslinger. There are technically 3 more subclasses of the Gunslinger I would love to cover in separate videos. Of course, going all through 12 levels of them. As again, thanking Tet for putting the time and effort into bringing them to life, and also to really just showcase everything there is. Plus also, it provides opportunities for me to make way different characters as well. And yes, I know some of you know me as more of a caster type of character when it comes to character builds. However, I do love branching out into the more fighter-esque martial abilities and also very much out of left field character builds like this one too. And also, please do request any character builds you have in mind in the comments below too. I will do my best to fulfill your requests as close as possible, just like how Tet and other mod authors on the Baldurs Gate Nexus do their best to implement these character builds and classes as close as possible to 5th edition D&D. Granted that Baldurs Gate is a video game and like with all video games have limiting mechanics. But until then everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch this video, whether you're a new or returning viewer, and I'll see you all on the next adventure. Take care and farewell.